Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be, and welcome to It's So Real
with your boy Oso
and your girl Rocky.
What's good, beautiful people? Welcome to another episode of the show.
And we had to come to you midweek with
this
one.
We had to get at this thing. We couldn't just hold back and wait the whole week because something went down, yo.
What went down, baby?
Man, I'll let you tell it because you're going to be leading this episode because you already know. My baby got all the pollen things down.
So as you know, today's show is Entanglements Part 2.
Part 2.
Yeah, so check out our previous episode, Entanglement, Jada.
Right. That was the part 1.
Yes. And you know what? We didn't have a part 2 to that one, did we?
Nah, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
We had a deep dive, I believe, but I don't think we had a part 2.
Those are different.
Mm-hmm. Remember when we used to do deep dives like that?
Mm-hmm.
Like when we was trying to do the Patreon thing.
Mm-hmm.
We gonna get there soon, but first we want to establish our audience a little bit more. You know, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching.
just the one.
Just the one for you.
All right. So Entanglements Part 2.
Yeah, Part 2. This is Part 2 right here.
All right. So with that, let's read some of the articles, shall we?
Let's get into it.
All right. So this article is from iHeartRadio by Regina Park, and it was posted on September 27th, 2021. It's kind of a summary of the interview Will Smith did with GQ magazine. Okay. So I'm just going to read some of the quotes from Will.
Okay.
Okay. Jada never believed in conventional marriage. Jada had family members that had an unconventional relationship. So she grew up in a way that was very different from how I grew up. There was significant endless discussions about what is relational perfection. Side note, that's definitely Will doing the thing that Willow said, you have an image of a family in your head and that is not us.
Yeah. Like the idea of relational perfection is...
Like perfection itself does not exist.
I don't even know what that means, relational perfection. So I never even thought about that as a goal of a relationship.
It's interesting that he did.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. Oh, shit. Continuing on. What is the perfect way to interact as a couple? And for the large part of our relationship, monogamy was what we chose, not thinking of monogamy as the only relationship perfection. And then he said, so the interviewer said, Will delicately explained that Jada wasn't the only one engaging in other sexual relationships. And then this is what Will said. It may seem hard to believe, but I would lose sleep over not giving you the answer that I know you could use. I want to help you. I want you to succeed. I want you to have a headline. But by the same token, I don't want to deal with the backlash of that in the world. And then he also says, we have given each other trust and freedom with the belief that everybody has to find their own way. And marriage for us can't be a prison. And I don't suggest our road for anybody. I don't suggest this road for anybody. But the experiences of the freedoms we've given one another and the unconditional support, to me, is the highest definition of love.
So, man. Yeah, I want to hear your thoughts first, honestly.
So just thoughts on the article before we get into the
before we get
questions?
into stuff.
So, him pointing out, like, I don't want to deal with this backlash, like, he knows.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
you know,
he doesn't, like, when I say, you know, they're coming out, it's like, that was very delicate. That was, we're using the language of monogamy now, and it's not solely monogamy, you know? It's not outwardly, you know, coming out the closet proud with the shirt on, you know? Like, it's not that.
Right.
It's a very delicate... maybe. You know?
Right. It was left. There was room left for interpretation. There's room left for questioning and doubt amongst the public, which I think was kind of the purpose, so that because they didn't themselves know exactly what was going on, so why would they define it so definitively in front of the public?
That's very true.
You know what I mean?
Some people do not have the language.
I mean, shit. This is all very, very new in terms of like
awareness,
official language. Like in terms of the dynamics, no, but in terms of like the way we're going about it, the language associated with it, the culture and everything that's coming about.
Yeah,
this is new territory, but exciting, which is why we're doing this podcast.
Yes,
this is challenging a lot of people's perceptions of relationship dynamics and structures.
So going into my first question.
Go ahead.
Why is
segue? You already know, baby.
Why is Will and Jada coming out so important? So since you were going there.
Yes, this represents a departure, if you will, from the traditional way of looking at relationship structures. So everybody knows that relationships today are defaulted to monogamy as a structure. One man, usually one woman together, right? That's how they came about. This is expanded now as we go towards like LGBTQ and then towards other stuff. People are starting to be like, oh, because people consider polyamory part.
No.
Which one? Some people do.
No, it is not.
I know, but I know that you don't.
No, I'm saying no, it is not. In the community, it is not.
I know, but there's a contention.
Yes.
Point. Yes, that's my point.
Oh, okay. But the response is no.
Yes, I was like, I gotta get out the contention so that they know that there's a response.
All right, say it fully.
I couldn't. You said no, and I was like, I understand that this. That's why I was trying to get out. Anyways, there's a contention, as you can see, of those people who identify as polyamorous, and within that realm, being part of the LGBTQ plus community, because there's a link, I believe, between the deconstruction of relationships and relationship norms. Because literally, relationship norms used to be just one man and one woman. So when you even deconstruct that to it being a man, or woman, or et cetera, all the other mixed matches and all the special ways that relationships can form these days. So when you mix match all those, why not mix match the dynamic of it just being one-on-one?
Because the LGBTQIAP plus community
stop at plus.
is centered on gender and sexual identities or orientations. Anything within non-monogamy is more relationship orientation, which isn't in gender or sexuality.
Right.
So that's why a lot of LGBTQ plus people who are within non-monogamy are saying no, this is not included in it.
And I would agree, because they're not.
And there's also straight people, cishet people in non-monogamy. So it's like, we just gonna welcome all of them. And it's like, we still trying to get safe spaces and stuff. Right. Like, nah, yeah.
So I get it, but I wanted to mention that as part of why, So anyways, going forward. So all that is part of the reason it got derailed and shit. Why this is such a big moment, because it represents further deconstruction of the relationship dynamic structure piece when it comes to how we connect to each other as human beings. It's no longer just a one-on-one dynamic. That's not the only form of romantic connections that we're looking as mainstream now.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's so important. It's breaking down a lot of barriers in that regard. And it's also opening up the conversation for people to question why. Well, we'll get to that later.
Thank you. Because usually he just goes right along.
Well, I'll be telling her to text me a question. She don't never do it.
The question's right there.
What's in front of the questions right now?
My mic. Anyways, so why is Will and Jada coming out so important? So, let's, be reminded that there have been rumors of their open marriage for years.
Yeah.
Years.
A long time.
However, they are a huge couple. Not only in the sense of a power couple where it's Will's, career and Jada's career and then their kids. Like, it's not just that, right? It's like their relationship goals, quote unquote. Like, how many songs have they been included? Like, we don't have many black couples.
And Jada.
You know, like, we don't have many black couples to, like, look up to. You
Shout out
know?
to Alicia Keys.
Yes. So there's been many songs with them included.
Now
so,
she's part of a couple that.
Exactly. So yeah. So they are huge, right? And for them, and while the rumors of their open marriage have existed for decades, they never confirmed.
Right. They never said anything.
They never said anything, right? So it was only until August Alsina came out that people was like, I mean, we knew this shit, but damn, you know?
Yeah, August let that whole thing.
Did he sign an NDA? I want to know, because it don't seem like
No, I don't think so. I think that was just like a connection that just happened, and it was just, it was free to flow.
Better think about it. But anyways, so that being said, it's huge for Will to actually come out and, you know, put a little more clarity around the situation, because that gives us representation. And representation is huge within the non-monogamy community, because we don't have it. Like, we live in a mononormative world where everything, whether it's movies, shows, books, music videos sometimes, like, a lot of our world is monogamous centered. So we don't have any relationship goals to look up to. Like, we don't have anything.
And even the stuff that isn't monogamous centered is around the betrayal of the non-monogamy.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, or monogamy.
Yeah, the betrayal of the monogamy. Thank you. So it's like, you cheated on me, or something else like that.
Like, how many songs have been dedicated to that, you know? So yeah, exactly. Like, this is breaking that barrier. Right.
Where it's like, it's consensual, they both agreed. This was agreed upon at the beginning of their relationship. And you know what else is kind of unique? The fact that they were growing through it. Yeah, you know? And I would also say this is huge as polyamory grows in awareness and people are more and more coming to terms with that. It's still whitewashed, okay? And then two, it's FMF triad centered. We don't see many other dynamics of polyamory. We don't see many other dynamics of non-monogamy. So that being said, moves us into the next question. What are the types of non-monogamy? So I'm interested to see what you think the types are, just off the top of your head. Types of non-monogamy. I can't name them. I feel like there are a lot. Well, name the ones you know. Polyamory, which encompasses a lot of things, but I don't know. Like, there are a lot of, they're like, I don't know, because polyamory to me doesn't necessarily define all of them, but I think it can, it's like an umbrella term. To me. It's not, though. But go ahead. Tell me then, because if I keep saying stuff that's wrong, I don't want to keep saying stuff that's wrong. Oh, okay. All right. Go ahead, tell me. So there are many different dynamics within polyamory, but polyamory is only one within non-monogamy. Right. Non-monogamy is the bigger umbrella, the biggest umbrella. So even in monogamy, when you're thinking about what monogamy is, so I'm saying, I can't do anything. You box me in with the questions. Let me save it for another question. But non-monogamy is a huge umbrella. You trapped me. Like, how am I supposed to answer anything? And non-monogamy is a huge umbrella. Okay. So that being said, I'm gonna name. I was set up. Some of the types of non-monogamy. I thought you could name more, but you was going that route, and that wasn't the route I wanted you to go. You're tying my hands. Yeah. All right. So, cheating is a form of non-monogamy. You see? It is. I know that, but like, that's what I mean. You should have led with this, because that's way more detailed. However, within the non-monogamy umbrella, there's even a bigger ethical non-monogamy. Okay? Because cheating is based in betrayal, lying, secrecy, deception. Is that all of them? I think they know what you mean.
That's usually how I describe it. So, but yeah, so ethical or consensual non-monogamy is something different. It's something that it's agreed to. You respect the consent of the people. It's different. All right. So that being said, we have dating around, which a lot of monogamous people do, but don't consider it like non-monogamy just because it's outside of a relationship. Open relationships, which would be something that it seems like Will and Jada experience. Swinging, which is usually when it doesn't have to be married, but couples interact with other couples, but it's not always the case. That's just more of the majority. I would say that's what comes out, what's presented is that. I don't know if that's majority because I'm not in that community. But yeah, that's one form of swinging. Casual sex. Like, monogamous people can experience this too. Like, again, there's huge forms. Relationship anarchy. That's fun.
Just fuck it all.
Yeah, they...
Goes with the wind.
Right, they really destroy any relationship structure and say, I'm going to do what the fuck I want. Polyamorous relationships, like you said. Polygamy, BDSM play with doms and subs, and then they have some more that's kind of going off of the things that I named. But yeah, so it's a lot, and it's, again, each of these identities or
relationship structures.
There we go. They have their own communities, they have their own cultures, language, like it's, yeah. So one is not the same as another, okay? Which is why when you said polyamory was a bigger umbrella, I was like, polyamory
I didn't say bigger, I said it's a big umbrella.
It has a lot within it, yes.
Yes. And then I couldn't say anything else because of the other questions that you set up, which is why I said I was set up for this question.
All right, well, go ahead into the next question.
Nah, you answering all the questions down.
No, I want to pull the thing down.
What?
The sun is on my face, so I want to pull it down.
Oh.
So the next question is, why is monogamy the default? And I will walk away and he will have the floor. Go for it, baby.
Yeah, so I think monogamy is the default because it's a strong relationship structure. Like, let's not act like it's not. One-on-one is very strong. Like, that's the basis of where most connections start. And it's not to say that other connections don't develop, because obviously they do. But when you do connect with one person, when you connect with a person, usually it's one person at a time. Romantically, it's usually one person at a time. So if that's the case, committing to that person to build something seems like a good idea. It also helps with family structures. For the most part, a lot of people believe that if they're with somebody who they're trying to have and build a family with, if they're committed to that person, then things would go a lot smoother. So they're like, okay, let's commit to each other one-on-one. But the problem is, I think it's been tied to successful relationships. So like people equate you being with one person monogamously as, okay, you have a successful relationship. Whereas if you are in all those other categories that you were listing that were non-monogamous, if you're single and you're sleeping around, you're like, okay, that's not successful relationships. Yeah, they are. They might be short and brief.
But that may be what someone wants.
Yeah. And it could be exactly what they want. What if it's just a sexual relationship in nature? That sexual relationship is satisfying both people. Both parties are getting satisfied within that scenario. Mm-hmm. Therefore, successful relationship.
Exactly. Like, stop basing other people's relationships on your definition.
Yeah. So, I think it's the default because of the way that we connect naturally. It's somewhat like on a one-on-one basis. I think it's just that's got taken like too far because of other factors like religion and other stuff like that. But I understand the innate drive to have a connection with one person. But the denial, I think the problem is more so the denial of connections to others. So it's not like monogamy is bad, because I think most people would like somebody primarily who they interact with.
Some people, not all, yes.
I said that. You like the dude off a Pootie Tank. It's hot in here. You know what? It's hot in here too. Anyways, yeah. So I think a lot of people, for the majority of people, they do like this. They have that person they can connect to, who's a primary person that they're with. But it doesn't mean that they don't have any connections outside of that. And to deny that, I think, is where there becomes this problem with the whole monogamy being the default. So that's why I think it's the default now, and that's why I think there's an issue with it, and how it's kind of slowly shifting now. As, you know, people like Will and Jada are getting in this thing, exposing things, showing people that it's possible.
It's possible.
You know what I mean? What about you? What do you think? Why do you think monogamy is like the default? I know you're going to mention religion.
You already know. But to comment on your point of, yeah, I was just talking to a friend, and I was just saying, again, how monogamy was never for me, because I wouldn't want to restrict myself. And he was like, he values monogamy because of the ability to raise children together. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, you don't need monogamy for that. Like, you can raise children and live with a partner and still be non-monogamous.
Yeah.
Like Will and Jada. Like us. Like...
Yeah, that has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, so, and I think that's to the... people want that security, which essentially it is the family, the home.
Yeah.
Even though commitment can exist outside of those. But, yeah, a lot of people want that. But you can still have that, you know? Like, the saying, you can have your cake and eat it too. And then somebody was like, no, you can just have 2 cakes. Or however many cakes as you want.
Especially not a bake.
You know? The sun is on my face. I don't know what to do about it. I tried.
Just accept it. It's cool.
I know, but it just fucks up the video. Let me move over.
You can move in. Yeah, you can move in closer if you want. It's okay. I don't bite.
Okay, that's better. All right. Sorry, people. Okay, a little closer to my baby.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I hope I didn't mess up stuff. All right. Anyways.
You're fine, baby. Just go ahead.
Okay. So, why is monogamy the default? 1, watch Netflix show Explained for the episode Monogamy, where they actually explore that, and that's where I'm getting my information from. So apparently, monogamy wasn't the default. So in hunter-gatherers, we were more egalitarian, and it's just, there was no reason to be monogamous, so to speak.
Yeah, the environment wasn't conducive for that.
Yeah,
type of
like hunters and gatherers are nomads. They're following like food, you know. So there's no reason. Exactly. We
got the resources.
There's no reason to be monogamous in that. However, when the shift came from agriculture or to agriculture, which remember most of humanity was hunters and gatherers. We're only recently getting into agriculture. That's when things like property rights and lines of succession, and I can only think about that because I've been reading The Shadow of Kyoshi, but passing down, you know, generational wealth and stuff like that, that's where it came more important. So that's where monogamy was like, oh yeah, this is kind of crucial. But then yes, you also have to look at how religion, especially Christianity, played a part in that. Mm-hmm. As far as God deems moral, you know.
Yeah, that was convincing a lot of folks.
Exactly, right? And then the state having say over who's allowed in those relationships. Again, sure. Same-sex marriage only since 2015, y'all. Like, that is hella recent, you know? So, So yeah, it was a lot of other external factors defining what marriage was, defining who would get those benefits and who had privileges and things like that. There was one more point that I wanted to say. What was the other point of why monogamy is the default?
I mean, you went through a few, so
I know.
I think you good.
There was
you
one more.
You got a list of all of them, baby.
I know.
Damn.
There was one more.
It's okay. You be alright.
Will I? Because I'll think about it in a sec.
And then you'll be able to bring it back up. The beauty of podcasting.
All right. I think religion. And then we got the state.
All this dead air. It ain't my fault, y'all.
I'm talking. I'm thinking out loud.
I know. That's what I'm about to say. Trying to think out loud. Trying like this. Yeah, like this shit ain't working. Like we talking about something different. The people know.
Yes. Well, whatever.
Make sure you watch and subscribe on our YouTube channel to see this live because this is hilarious.
Whatever. All right. So next question. While I think of my last one.
Exactly. You still thinking about it?
It's gone.
She's gonna bring that shit up next episode.
I sure am. Like, pause, y'all. Here's the moment. All right. So why do some people identify as or choose to be monogamous?
Why do some people choose to be monogamous?
Or identify as?
I think some people actually are monogamous. I mean, that's not unheard of at all. I think a lot of people believe and feel truly in their heart that they're meant to be with one person. They think that structure fits them and their personality, their emotions, their everything. It seems to be a good fit for them. Now, on the other hand, there are some who just...
That's the next question.
Yep.
Go for it. Just go for it. We here. Just go for it.
Your questions be tripping me out. All right. There are some who I think identify as monogamous due to the pressure of society. And
you're actually doing a different route.
See? Here you go. All right. So due to the pressures of society and feeling as though there is no other options outside of monogamy without being shamed and all those other things that you listed earlier, because she listed all. But yeah, that's the reason why I think a lot of people choose monogamy. Because I'm sure there's somebody right now watching or listening, but you should be watching. Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Here's the moment.
Oh, Lord. Here we go.
You can remember your point?
I remember my point.
Okay, so the history of marriage had nothing to do with love, okay? It had to do with business transactions, all right? The merging of in-laws, the merging of countries. Like, they ain't give a damn about no romantic love. It was arranged, you know? So the idea of marrying for love and that marriage being monogamous is new, okay? So there we go. Why is monogamy the default? There we go. All right, continue, baby.
All right. Now I forgot my point.
Damn it! I thought I told you to remember.
No, I'm just kidding. So, anyways, they feel this pressure. The people who choose to be monogamous. So, I'm sure there's somebody listening or watching right now. Like I was saying before, if you aren't watching, subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can see your boy articulating this stuff with his hands and whatnot, because he be moving his hands and shit.
About to hit me.
Nope, never do that. No, never do that.
He never does that.
See. Anyways, so there's probably somebody watching or listening that has only been in monogamous relationships, at least identified as monogamous relationships. Maybe you were doing some of that exploring when you were single. And you just didn't realize, oh shit, I'm being non-monogamous right now. But you might even, in a more structured sense of relationships when it comes to having a primary partner and then having additional partners, you might actually feel like that's a better dynamic for you. But because of the stigma attached to anything outside of monogamy, you won't even try that. Or you won't try that in an ethical way.
Ethical.
Yeah. So that's why I think a lot of people just choose monogamy as their default, or they choose non-monogamy in an unethical way, in a means to escape the prism of what is monogamy without the shame that comes and is associated with stepping out of that prism. If that makes sense.
Okay. All right, so why do some people identify as or choose to be monogamous, and then why do some people identify as or choose to be non-monogamous? So first, I want to break down the difference between identify as and choose. Okay, so there is a lot of overlap with non-monogamy from queer communities. So I use the language coming out, and then even in the sense of identifying as or choosing. So in that regard, it speaks to the concept of identity versus choice or lifestyle. And while it's more of a solid identity when it comes to gender and sexuality, non-monogamy is a little bit more fluid in how people connect with it. Some people have the capacity, the natural capacity, to either only have one partner at a time or to be able to love and put energy in to multiple people at a time. So some people is just like, this is who I am, I have this capacity, this is what it is, right? Versus some other people, they may be fluid in their capacity. So like, at some points in their life, they may have more to give to multiple people, whereas other parts, they may be more one person, or while dating, it's different than in a relationship, or, it's different. It's a lot of room for you to be who you are, Yeah. Some people are I forgot how to say it. I don't know. It's like the in-between of monogamous and non-monogamous, or polyamorous, where you can do both depending on the people that you're actually connecting with. So there's a lot of room there, and I think because monogamy is the default, we haven't allowed people to express that and explore that, and even to the point of questioning why they chose monogamy. Like, it's okay if that's your capacity, you only have it to give one person at a time, you can only love one person at a time, beautiful. But like, without understanding of why that was a good choice for you, you're just following along with the program. And with that, that means a lot of how monogamy is viewed societally in the box that it's put in. For example, there are mono-polyam relationships where one person is monogamous and the other person is polyamorous. And like, people were like, why monogamous? I don't understand how that, but that's the difference between a person who identifies as a monogamous and a monogamous relationship.
Right.
So it's there's a lot of room, and like you were saying earlier, you get to question these things. When people come out as being non-monogamous and it defies the norm, you get to question it and saying, hey, is this right for me? It is, but it can look like this way, and it doesn't even have to be that way. It gets you out of the box. Any other things with that?
No. That was comprehensive.
All right. The last question is, why is there a stigma on non-monogamy?
I think I more easily answered this when I wasn't, or I didn't identify as non-monogamous. Because now I can't think of a damn thing.
You found the freedom.
Right. Pass. Shit. I know there are things where honestly, as like when you first said it, I couldn't think of nothing. I'm sure if you give me like another 3 minutes or something like that, or a minute, honestly, I don't need 3.
Well, the first I would say is the sex negative culture that we live in.
There we go. That's it.
You know, because we live in a sex negative culture.
Y'all out here whoring around.
Even as sexual as this country is, think about our advertisements. This country is all about sex until it's time for sex, and then it's a bad thing. The fuck?
That is true. Hold on. Let's take a second to understand how real that point was. Because we do promote sex a hell of a lot. Up until it's time to have sex.
And then
it's like,
shun
restrictions,
the secrets,
nigga. Laws,
silence,
nigga.
shame.
Stop it, nigga. No, don't do that. Don't do this. Don't do that. It's like, yo, don't teach this. Don't learn about that. Definitely don't put that there.
That's funny.
So it's like, that's so true.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
And that reminds me of a previous episode, Sex, Shame, Judgment, and a Guilt Trip. Check that episode out.
Please do.
But yes, so because of that, and again, Christianity, we...
All religions, honestly.
You know? I mean, yeah, but it's a Christian country and all that. But, especially black folk. But yeah, because we live in that, like, people dismiss polyamorous relationships as only being about sex.
Right.
One, who cares if it was? It's consensual, bitch. Get the fuck out of my relationship. Anyways, but the fact that it's like they believe love is scarce. Love is a scarcity versus what polyamorous folks believe is love is abundant. Like, I'm not restricted on my amount of romantic love, so I'm able to romantically love multiple people. So because of your lack of capacity, you gonna judge me off your shit. Because it would be uneven, it would be unequal, I wouldn't love them the same. Well, one, no duh, they're two different people. You couldn't. There's two different connections. Right. You know? So it's because of the lack of exploration within themselves. They put all that fear, all that shame, all that judgment onto the rest of us. And it's like, again, we didn't found the freedom.
Yeah, so much so I really couldn't think of the cons. I mean, now, as you're saying it, obviously. And there are more. But, like, I don't really... The grass is so green on this side. Because I'm, like, watering the garden. You know what I mean? I'm putting in the effort to make sure that everything's good over here. So, I don't know. I understand that other people do have challenges, though. So now everybody's in the same position. And now everybody's found a partner. You know what I mean? I'm blessed in that regard. So.
Thanks, baby.
Oh, thank you.
And to also the sex negative point, a lot of people are concerned about STIs when they hear about non-monogamy. Like, so that's just telling me that y'all don't take your sexual health safety.
We get tested over here.
Exactly. Tested, barriers, like, and then we're not even taught in sex ed about what to do if you were infected. Like, people who have,
other than freak out.
You know, like, people who have infections like herpes or HIV. It's like, well, we just throwing them in the trash? Like, they also deserve relationships and love and stuff like that. But we were never taught how to even have sex when somebody's infected. So, like, there's just so much shame from either misunderstanding or lack of knowledge or just judgment and opinion. It's crazy. But another stigma I wanted to say of non-monogamy, and not necessarily a stigma, but this is why people aren't out and open about it, is that non-monogamy isn't a protected class. So people have been fired, evicted, lost custody of their kids, been dishonorably discharged from the military. Like, there have been severe consequences to being open about your either relationship or sexual life. You know, and that's why there's a fight for it to become a protected class.
Yeah. And I agree. I mean, I think, and going back to the top of the question of this episode, it's like, this is why this moment is so important when Will and Jada, in particular Will this time, more so speaking up about their relationship, because...
Pause. Notice the shame that Jada got because of August Alsina versus the response that Will's getting. Just saying. Go ahead.
But yeah, I think it's just important because it's giving that representation, but also shift that might be needed to potentially break open the societal conversation so that more people from the jump of their relationships can structure it with eyes wide open to all the possibilities of what that structure could be and should be for those 2, 3, 4, 5, however many individuals. You know what I mean? But that in itself is a revolutionary concept because now you're starting relationships questioning what dynamics and structures work for you, and you're being more so intentional because you have to do that. You know what I mean? And that's going to create better relationships, I believe, just from the jump. Even if you're a monogamous person, because then you're going to have to have that conversation. You know what I mean? And then you got to define, okay, what does monogamy look like for you? What are your boundaries? What are the things you're not willing to put up with? What is flirting? Is that off limits? You know, all these other things.
For some people it is. For some people it
isn't.
Right.
So having that conversation.
Sleeping in separate bedrooms. Like, why is that such a just, God forbid? For some people and other people, like, it works. Shit. Find what works for you.
Structures, dog. Structures.
All right. Anything else for today?
Nah, that's all I got. I hope you people enjoyed, and I hope that you guys are learning from some of the things that we're talking about and able to apply it to your relationships, because that's really what I care about, especially now that I'm on my, licensed marriage and family therapist kick, you know what I'm saying?
Smart private love, practice.
2 T's. Hit your boy up if you want some couples premarital counseling. Hit your boy up if you want some couples counseling. Hit your boy up if you want some relationship coaching. Hit your boy up for all those services, anything love, but make sure that you're smart about it. 2 T's.
Including polyamory.
Oh.
Hey. Thank you so much for listening to the It's So Real podcast with your girl, Rocky.
And your boy also.
You have a beautiful day. Take care of you.
All right, y'all. We will catch you on the next episode. Do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Head on over there right now to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. And we'll catch you guys on the next episode. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing. And thank you so much for supporting us. We love y'all. Peace.
And love.
Always. We're out.
Hey, it's the Real Family. It's your girl, Rocky.
And your boy, Elsa.
And thanks for being here. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and click that notification bell.
Right, because subscribing and hitting that notification bell does 2 very important things. 1, it gives you notification on our new content and make sure that you're up to date on everything that we put out every week.
Every week.
Every week.
Every week.
And then number 2, it helps your boy and your girl out with some money. You know what I'm saying? Let's just keep it honest.
It's so real, baby.
But in all seriousness, this is just like the video portion, the YouTube portion of our content. We are It's So Real podcast. So we have all these episodes just waiting for y'all on how many platforms?
11 different streaming platforms.
11.
So it's up to you to choose.
Yeah, there's no excuses. We on everything. So whatever platform you're most comfortable listening to stuff, your content on, we're right there for you. So look us up. It's So Real Podcast.
And our link tree is available on our YouTube channel. Go over there, find the platform that works best for you. Subscribe to our podcast and hear the full thing, because we have a lot more to say than what shows up on our YouTube channel.
Exactly. With that being said, check out the rest of our videos while you're here.
And be sure to subscribe.
All right, y'all. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.
And love.
Always.